Man, if you've been breathing anywhere near hip-hop this past year, you already know the story. You've seen the headlines, the clips, the viral posts. You've felt the shift. Because what Kendrick Lamar just pulled off, that wasn't a comeback, it was a takeover. A once-in-a-generation run that started with a war, turned into an anthem, became a movement, and ended with a statement so loud the whole rap world had no choice but to bow. It's not just that Kendrick won the beef. He won everything. The beef, the charts, the stage, the culture, the respect. He made the music talk, then backed it up in real life. That's what separates legends from names. That's why, right now, there's no question left. Kendrick Lamar is the king of hip-hop. Period. It all started with the beef. The storm that flipped the entire rap landscape upside down. One side you had Drake, the global superstar, rich, charming, and protected by an empire. On the other, you had Kendrick, the silent sniper, the man who'd been plotting his every move for years. When that first diss dropped, people thought it was just another rap scuffle, something for social media to eat up. But Kendrick wasn't just rapping. He was surgically dismantling an image. Every verse was a crack in Drake's armor. Every bar a piece of evidence that the crown didn't belong in Toronto anymore. By the time Kendrick dropped that final blow, the one that had the internet in flames for a week straight, Drake was finished. No clapback could save him. No PR move could spin it. The people had decided. The beef was over, and Kendrick had won. And what did he do after winning? He didn't gloat. He didn't do interviews. He didn't tweet victory laps. He went to the studio. That's when the real domination began. While Drake's camp was quiet, trying to figure out what went wrong, Kendrick dropped the kind of record that reminded the world why he's in a lane of his own. A hit record, not just a song for hip-hop heads or critics. Something that crossed over. A record that hit Billboard, radio, TikTok, the clubs, and still had the lyricism to silence every doubter. It wasn't just catchy, it was classic. It was one of those songs that played in the whip and made people pull over to catch the bars. Then came the album. That's when it got serious. Kendrick dropped a full project, and it wasn't just good, it was a masterpiece. Critics called it the most complete album since To Pimp a Butterfly. Fans said it was deeper than Damn. It was everything people had been missing. Storytelling, vulnerability, consciousness, and heat. It wasn't about chasing trends or topping playlists. It was about restoring the soul of rap. And the numbers backed it up. Platinum within weeks. Sold out vinyls. Record-breaking streams. Drake used to be the streaming king. But this time, even his own fans were quietly switching playlists. The people had a new soundtrack, and it belonged to Kendrick. Then came the moment nobody saw coming. The pop-out performance. That show felt like the streets themselves pulled up to watch history. Kendrick on stage, surrounded by legends, peers, and even rivals. The energy was electric, the crowd deafening. It wasn't a concert, it was a coronation. Every song hit harder live. Every word carried weight. The way he controlled the crowd, the way he looked into the camera. It was like watching a man fully aware that he'd just taken the throne back in real time. People still talk about that performance like it was a national event, because it was. The pop-out became a symbol. The moment hip-hop remembered what authenticity looked like. But Kendrick didn't stop there. He turned that wave into momentum. When the Grammy nominations dropped, his name was everywhere. He cleaned up, won the Grammys with grace, walked on that stage like a man who didn't need validation, but took it anyway. He didn't give a long speech, didn't gloat. Just thanked the culture, the community, the art. That's Kendrick, quietly powerful. Always focused on the message, never distracted by the noise. Every award was a reminder that his work didn't just touch the streets, it touched the world. Then came the Super Bowl, the biggest stage on earth, the moment artists dream about their entire careers. And Kendrick didn't just perform. He delivered a cultural sermon in front of millions. Precision, energy, power. It wasn't about shock value, it was about pride. He brought Compton to the world and made everyone stand still. It wasn't just a halftime show, it was hip-hop reclaiming its place at the top of global entertainment. The same kid who once rapped about Section .80 was now the face of a generation. After that, he took the world on a ride. The Grand National Tour. A global stadium tour. Let that sink in. Stadiums, not arenas. Sold out in minutes. City after city, country after country. From Los Angeles to London, Tokyo to Lagos. The energy was the same. Fans screaming every lyric, crying during the deep cuts, chanting his name like he was more than a rapper, like he was a prophet. The visuals, the choreography, the storytelling, it was all next level. People said it felt more like a spiritual experience than a concert. That's the thing about Kendrick. He doesn't just entertain, he elevates. By now, everyone agreed. Kendrick Lamar wasn't just having a good run. He was rewriting the rules. He'd won the beef, the charts, the stage, and the respect of the culture. But there was still one last piece of the puzzle. One last cloud that haters tried to hang over his name. The bot rumors. When his streams hit record-breaking levels, some people couldn't believe it was organic. They whispered that bots were boosting his numbers, that it couldn't be real. That's how far the disbelief went. People couldn't accept that raw talent could still dominate without shortcuts. So when Kendrick's camp took the matter to court, nobody expected what came next. It became another headline war. Numbers, data, evidence, lawyers. The lawsuit dragged on for months. People speculating. Social media running wild. But Kendrick stayed silent, just like before. Calm. Focused. Letting the truth build its own case. And when that verdict came down, Kendrick Lamar did not use bots. All streams verified as authentic. Case closed. It was the final stamp on an already flawless run. The truth wasn't just proven, it was celebrated. The lawsuit ended not with doubt, but with applause. ABC News, Rolling Stone, Complex, they all covered it. The industry had no choice but to acknowledge what fans already knew. Kendrick's success wasn't manufactured. It was earned. One verse, one hit, one moment at a time. Think about it. How many artists can say they beat their biggest rival? Dropped a classic album, won Grammys, shut down the Super Bowl, sold out stadiums across the world, and walked out of a federal courtroom untouched. All within the same era? None. Only Kendrick. That's why people started calling it the run. Because it wasn't just dominance, it was destiny. And through it all, Kendrick never changed. No flashy interviews, no messy drama, just pure focus. You'd see him out in LA, hoodie up, minding his business, still humble, still grounded. That's what makes it all hit harder. He didn't become the king by screaming about it. He became the king by earning it, by staying authentic, while everyone else chased attention. Every time you replay one of those moments, the beef, the album, the performances, you can feel it. The shift, the power, the sense that hip-hop, for the first time in years, was back in the hands of someone who truly cared about it. The culture felt cleaner, realer, alive again. And at the center of it all stood Kendrick Lamar, the man who reminded the world that greatness doesn't need approval, it just needs time. That's why people say his run wasn't luck. It was legacy in motion, a sequence of wins so undeniable that even his haters had to fall silent. Drake might have had hits, fame, followers, but Kendrick had something more dangerous, truth. And truth always wins, eventually. By the time the lawsuit wrapped, the message was clear. No bots, no gimmicks, no tricks. Just bars, art, and authenticity. The final piece of proof that Kendrick's empire was built from the ground up, brick by brick, word by word. He didn't chase the system, he beat it. And now, with every headline, every sold-out show, Every fan screaming his name across continents. It's obvious. Kendrick Lamar didn't just win the beef. He won the era. The hits, the albums, the awards, the tours, the truth, all his. No shortcuts, no scandals, just the work. The king never stepped down. He just reminded everyone who the crown really fits. And now, with the world watching, one thing's for sure. Kendrick Lamar's run wasn't a moment. It was a movement. And that movement changed hip-hop forever. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation. So please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.